Hey, what's up, man? This is your boy, Yah's Chosen One. We are in the great book of Genesis. We're on chapter 12. Uh, we did verse 1 through 9. Now we're going to do I guess we're going to finish it. And I hope you guys are having a good day today. Even though it really doesn't mean much to me. This is in the Western world, today is Thanksgiving, but it really doesn't mean much to me. So we're going to continue read. We're going to read Genesis 10 through 20. I mean, Genesis 12, verse 10 through 20, okay? All right. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, to rest there, for the famine was grievous in the land. All right, so there's Abram going down to Egypt. And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Oh man, she had it going on, man. This Sarah woman. When you read about Sarah in the Bible from now on, she had to be absolutely gorgeous, because as you can see, you know, she was a Hebrew woman, but the Pharaoh of Egypt, he got the choices of all women. So let's see what happens. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. So the Egyptians, you know, I'm seeing what people who do like Egyptology and stuff like that. Look what the Pharaoh did. They will kill somebody to take their woman. Okay? Just because she looked fine and good, they will kill somebody. It wasn't even an act of war. It was just, if they saw this woman look good, she was good enough for the Pharaoh, whoever was in command. This is what these Egyptians were doing. But they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, that thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, that the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. And this was good, because the Egyptians were, you know, the top notch in society at that time. And they was looking at this woman, this Hebrew woman, Sarah. And they was like, my God, look at this woman. You know, because you got to remember, you know, as we read along, that the Egyptians and the Hebrews look just alike. Okay. The princess also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. So actually the princes also of Pharaoh, they saw this woman. So that the high up people saw this woman, and they was like, Pharaoh, you gotta see this. You gotta see this woman. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels. So, you know, they gave Abram all this stuff. Remember Sarah telling him that this is his sister. I mean, telling the Pharaoh that, you know, Abram is my sister, is my brother. You know, one will come to see, like, why, if they have the protection of Yah with them, why would they do that? Well, sometimes Yah works that way. You know what I'm saying? In order to glorify themselves, even in the most dire situations, he makes sure that his people, those who follow him, come out on top. You know? And Yah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife. Now see? If you're like, why do y'all do that? Why do y'all do that? Well, first of all, he shouldn't be taking anybody's wife in the first place. You know what I'm saying? He just don't go some bully or gangster somebody for somebody's wife. You know what I'm saying? That's his wife. Now, your customs are heathenistic. If you want to kill somebody, take somebody's wife, by all means do that. But, you know, in Hebrew custom, and since we are Yah's children, you don't do that. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Look at him. What's this you done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Huh? Yeah, and what did Abram have to say? Why sayest thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore, behold, thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. So not only did Abram take Pharaoh's stuff, he kind of came in there with this, with this amount of stuff, but now he come out with all kinds of stuff, with all kinds of riches, measured by livestock back in the day. He took out all these riches, and he took his wife, making Pharaoh like the fool, And even if Pharaoh knew that Abram was Sarah's wife, would that have stopped Pharaoh from slaying Abram? No. So you can't say that, why did y'all do that? No, because Abram, he chose the right path, you know what I'm saying? Because he would have tried to kill him. And we thinking humanly, we know we have Yah with us, but we thinking humanly, the Most High the glory was given to the Most High through his servant Abram, showing that even in the most richest and glamorous places in the world, a Hebrew can come out on top. So we're going to go to Jasher chapter 15, because we read 13 through 14 on the last video. So we're going to go to chapter 15 right here. All right. And yeah, we're going to go to chapter 15 right here. Okay. And we'll read unto, let's see. We'll read unto verse. All right, we'll read to verse 32. Okay. All right, here we go. And in that year there was a heavy famine throughout the land of Canaan, and the inhabitants of the land could not remain on account of the famine, for it was very grievous. All right. And you kind of got to remember, Nimrod was still the king, right? Hold on here. Let me just make sure here. Because remember in the last chapter, it was Rikayon. All right. It was Rikayon who called him Pharaoh. Okay. All right. And in that year there was a heavy famine throughout the land of Canaan, and the inhabitants of the land could not remain on account of the famine, for it was very grievous. And Abram and all belonging to him rose and went down to Egypt on account of the famine. And when they were at the brook of Mitzrayim, Mitzrayim is from the Hamitic seed through Canaan, and later be called as Egypt, they remained there some time to rest from the fatigue of the road. That's how they traveled, by foot, camel, stuff like that. And Abram and Sarah were walking at the border of the brook of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. And Abram beheld his wife Sarah, that she was very beautiful. She was like, Abram was like, oh my God, look at this woman. Man, ain't no way I'm going down to Egypt, man, and she looking like that, man. And Abram said to his wife, since the Most High has created thee with such a beautiful countenance, I am afraid of the Egyptians, lest they should slay me and take thee away, for the fear of the Almighty is not in these places. See, all these Egyptologists, who was they worshiping? Osiris. Who do we see in Jasher chapter 13 through 14 who Osiris was? It was Nimrod. Nimrod is Osiris. They don't understand that. Surely then thou shalt do this. Say thou art my sister to all that may ask thee, in order that it may be well with me, and that we may live and not be put to death. And Abram commanded the same to all those that came with him to Egypt on account of the famine. Also his nephew Lot he commanded, saying, if the Egyptians ask thee concerning Sarah, say she is the sister of Abram. Okay? And yet, with all these orders, Abram did not put confidence in them, but he took Sarah and placed her in a chest and concealed it amongst their vessels. So Abram was very afraid, because obviously you've heard of these things that these Egyptians do. So he was very afraid of what could go down. You know what I'm saying? He put her in a chest to try to conceal her. For Abram was greatly concerned about Sarah on account of the wickedness of the Egyptian. Like again, you want to go back to people who want to be Egyptologists and stuff like that, man. We got this cat named Polite, and they're supposed to be having this debate on December 7th, I think, with the Hebrew Israelites, man. You might want to check it out, but dude, he can be African. He can be Egyptology or New Covenant, whatever the hell he want to say, all he wants to. But we know about Egypt, man. We know about Egypt from the Bible. He can use all the worldly, scientific, and mathematical computations and all that he wants to. What it comes down to is that this book, the Bible, and all the books that is referenced, is the true word. And Abram and all belonging to him rose up from the brook of Mizraim and came to Egypt, and they had scarcely entered the gates of the city. They scarcely entered the gates of the city when the guards stood up to them, saying, "Give tithe to the king for what you have, and then you may come into the town." And Abram and those that were with him did so. So when you enter Egypt, as soon as you walk in the borders of Egypt, just like we have borders, welcome to the United States. Just like we got to be border patrols, they had it back then. And Abram, with the people that were with him, came to Egypt, and when they came, they brought the chest in which Sarah was concealed, and the Egyptians saw the chest. And the king's servants approached Abram, saying, "What hast thou here in this chest, which we have not seen? Now open thou the chest and give tithe to the king of all that is contained." So it must have been a nice looking chest, and most of the time, maybe it wasn't nice looking, but most of the time the things that you have in chests are belongings that, that you really like. So these Egyptians knew that. And Abram said, "This chest I will not open, but all you demand upon it I will give." And Pharaoh's officers answered Abram, saying, "It is a chest of precious stones. Give us the tenth thereof," so the tenth of tithing or whatever, to the king. Give all a tenth of what you have. So Abram said, "All that you desire I will give, but you must not open the chest." And the king's officers pressed Abram. They pushed at him. And they reached the chest and opened it with force. And they saw, and behold, a beautiful woman was in the chest. Sarah was off the chain. She was beautiful. And when the officers of the king beheld Sarah, they were struck with admiration at her beauty. And all the princes and servants of Pharaoh assembled to see Sarah. Man, Sarah was making a congregation around her beauty, man. She was so dang pretty that these Egyptians, who were, I'm sure they had beautiful Egyptians in their country, that their women were beautiful. When they saw Sarah, they was like, "Oh my goodness." And the king's officers ran and told Pharaoh, the dude ran and told Pharaoh all that they had seen, and they praised Sarah to the king. And Pharaoh ordered her to be brought, and the woman came before the king. It's like, man, you have got to see this girl, man. She is off the chain. And the woman was then brought to Pharaoh's house, and Abram grieved on account of his wife, and he prayed to Yah to deliver her from the hands of Pharaoh. Because, you know what he'll do. He'll probably try to kill him. Try to abuse her, rape her, or sexually molest her. Anything can happen. That's his wife. So he's got to try to defend her. And Sarah also prayed at that time and said, "O Yah, the Most High, thou didst tell my lord Abram to go from his land and from his father's house to the land of Canaan. And thou didst promise to do well with him if he would perform thy commands. Now behold, we have done that which thou didst command us, and we left our land and our families, and we went to a strange land and to a people whom we have not known before." People we haven't known before. This strange land is Canaan, man. It's Canaanites. People of Ham. Alright? Through a messed up copulation from Ham and Noah's wife, or his mother. And that's how Canaan came about. These are Canaanites, man. Something wrong up there. And we came to this land to avoid the famine, and the evil accident has befallen me. Now therefore, O Yah, the Almighty, deliver us and save us from the hand of this oppressor, and do well with me for the sake of thy mercy. And lo and behold, these Canaanites, man, they've always been our oppressor, man. Where was we in bondage at before? Egypt. And like I said, you know, you see the videos by ISUPK and GMS. These Africans, man, you know, they don't, their spirit, you know, not gonna put them in a hole, but their spirit, they don't like you, man. That's why you were sold by them, man. They know you're different from them. And Yah hearkened to the voice of Sarah, and Yah sent an angel or a Malach to deliver Sarah from the power of Pharaoh. And see, that was the problem with the fallen Malachim. The only time they are supposed to intervene with affairs of man is when the Most High tells them. They're messengers to us, guardians to us, if I may say. And what the fallen ones did is that they took it upon themselves to intervene with the affairs of man and even copulate with them. All right? And the king approached Sarah. Oh, okay. And Yah, okay. And the king came and sat before Sarah, and behold, a Malach of Yah was standing over them. And he appeared to Sarah and said to her, do not fear, for Yah has heard thy prayer. And the king approached Sarah and said to her, what is that man to thee whom brought thee hither? And she said, he is my brother. And the king said, it is incumbent upon us to make him great, to elevate him, and to do unto him all the good things which thou shalt command us. And at that time the king sent Abram silver and gold and precious stones in abundance, together with cattle, men servants, and maid servants. And the king ordered Abram to be brought. And he sat in the court of the king's house. And the king greatly exalted Abram on that night. And the king approached to speak to Sarah, and he reached out his hand to touch her. Ah, look at this. When the Malach smote him heavily, and he was terrified, and he refrained from reaching to her. See that? His whole intention was, man, you saw this girl. It's like any man, you know. You see this girl, you want to holler at her, you want to, you know. But, you know, his whole intentions were, man, to have this woman. And when the king came near, the Malach didn't even let him touch her. He didn't even let him touch Sarah. And when the king came near to Sarah, the Malach smote him to the ground, and acted thus to him the whole night. And the king was terrified. He smote this guy to the ground. He struck him. And the Malach on that night smote heavily all the servants of the king and his whole household on account of Sarah. And there was great lamentation that night amongst the people of Pharaoh's house. He smote this dude, man. He smote all this. So this one Malach, the power of these Malachs, just one of them did this to. And these were mighty men of Pharaoh, man. These weren't just some punks. I'm sure these were like the choicest of soldiers among Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, seeing the evil that befell him, said, surely on account of this woman has this thing happened to me. And he removed himself at some distance from her and spoke pleasing words to her. And the king said to Sarah, tell me, I pray thee, concerning the man with whom thou camest here. And Sarah said, this man is my husband. And I said to thee that he was my brother, for I was afraid lest thou should put him to death through wickedness. And the king kept away from Sarah, and the plagues of the Malach of Yah ceased from him and his household. And Pharaoh knew that he was smitten on account of Sarah, and the king was greatly astonished at this. And in the morning the king called for Abram and said to him, what is this thou hast done to me? Why dost thou say she is my sister, owing to which I took her unto me for a wife? And this heavy plague has therefore come upon me and my household. Now, therefore, here is thy wife, take her and go from our land, lest we all die on her account. And Pharaoh took more cattle, men servants, and maid servants, and silver and gold to give to Abram, and he returned unto him Sarah his wife. And the king took a maiden whom he begot by his concubines, and he gave her to Sarah for a handmaid. And the king said to his daughter, It is better for thee, my daughter, to be a handmaid in the man's house than to be a mistress in my house, after we have beheld the evil that befell us on account of this woman. How about that? So not only did he spoil Pharaoh, he's spoiling not in the modern day that we know, but taking away his riches, silver and gold. He took all kinds of things from him, but he also gave him his daughter. He knew that Abram was righteous. This king, this Pharaoh was like, you know what? You know, I know I got a great kingdom here, but you know what, daughter? This man is righteous. He even knew. Go with this man, Abram, and you will do well with him, man, because this man is blessed and he is from Yah. You know what I'm saying? And that is why Egyptologists, man, from that alone, man, we see who the Most High is with, man. Forget Osiris, forget Isis, forget Horus, forget all that dumb stuff, man. Those guys can neither see, hear, nor think. Okay? Alright. Love you guys much, man. I hope you got a little bit more information about Genesis chapter 12 after this video. I hope you're enjoying your day today, man. It's a great day for me to be off, man. You know, I really don't care about the holy day, the holiday that they have, but I really don't care about that aspect of it. It's just good to be able to sit down and do videos and, you know, pretty much praise Yah and give him part of my time, you know, to let him know that I am studying to show myself approved to him. I'm glad you was able to spend your time with me too. All right, this is your boy, Yah's chosen one, and so are you, as long as you get this word. Shalom.